What's going on, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Travis with RAC Garage. I'm back on the 36. I know last video was the Roadster pickup. I have been working on the 36. A couple days I had to take off to run a few errands, but I am back on the wheel wells. I didn't record making this one because it's literally the same as this one, just the other side. So, what I'm doing now is I'm mapping out this extension here. So you see I have some template paper magneted to the back end, and that is this here. So I have that magneted, as I just said, and whoops. Alright, so I just went around, kind of roughly traced where I want to cut the template, but I traced nicely around where the defined edges are. This up here is going to be big. This, I'm not sure what this end looks like yet because it's all rotted off. So the main edges I did nice and crisp, and the other ones I kind of just like went around, because this lip here, this one here, that makes the bead here, and I'm going to do that separately, so this top edge really doesn't matter too much. So I'm going to pull this off, trim it, transfer it to a piece of metal, and hopefully we can get started making that end piece and start getting this so it's a full-size wheel well, all welded together. So you know, I don't know what I'm trying to say. All right, so side note, you know how I was talking about that Polmax die jig from Faye Butler? I finally got it in the mail. So the posts sit in here, and your dies are in here. You make sure everything's aligned, and then you can weld things together, clamp it to it. You know, it's really handy, so you can get your dies aligned. And I also picked up a radius gauge from Faye. Surprisingly, this is the first one I've ever owned. I don't know why I haven't used them yet. I've kind of just either gone by eye, which is terrible, or just made a radius template to the actual piece, so it's more accurate than, say, it's like in between a 36 and a 24, or like a 3.5 or something. I kind of made my own, because I didn't have one. So now I do, and you know, I'll probably use this a lot more than I think I would, but it's nice to have. Also, I want to get a set of sweeps, which are the longer versions of each one of these, and they got more. Like 12, 16, 18, like almost all of the radiuses in long 24 or 36, sometimes even 48-inch long sections of that radius. So you can, like, say you're making a trunk lid or something, you can have the whole like a 4-foot section of a 36-inch radius to make sure the whole panel is nice, instead of just testing a section, I don't know, 4 inches wide. So these are handy, but I really want to get a set of sweeps that will help me even further. And I'll go into depth when I buy those. Alright, so I haven't been on here talking in a while. So I have this inner wheel well almost fully made. Might be fully made. You know, got the top fully on, get the extension piece on, filled in this piece down here, trimmed the bottom with all the necessary trimmings. You know, so it's looking like an inner wheel well right now. So I decided to start making the lip across the edge that would create the bead. So you saw me take a piece of angle, bend it, and, well, you might not have saw me bend it, but you saw me stretching it out on the polishing hammer with the linear stretch dies. So that literally hits on just the middle there, stretching out the metal. And it does it in a way where it does not put any marks in the metal. It comes out really nice. But my issue was I made this a 90 degree, and this here from the end to about here-ish is not a 90 degree angle. It's more like a 70 degree angle. So when I bent this around and put it on top here and matched it to that curve, it wasn't correct. So I needed to open it up to be 70 degrees. So what I did, I took the top die from my flanging tool, and this lower flat piece, I just kind of used this to make different profiles in aluminum and, you know, plastics and stuff, so it can go in here so it has a post. But I used it with nothing in it and just kind of let the metal splay out as it got hit from above. See how that would work there? And you just saw it working. Go right in there. And now I got the degree I want on this piece, but naturally, when I did that, it changed everything, and now it's not the right degree anymore. So I need to shrink and stretch and do some more work to it, but unfortunately I don't know if we're going to keep this perfect edge anymore because I kind of screwed up on the angle. I don't know, I might make another piece. Not sure. Looks so good though. Alright, let me figure this out, see what I got to do with it. I definitely have to shrink it some on this edge to bring it back a little flatter, because as you can see, it's it ain't right. So let's go do that. So now I did a lot of fiddling, a lot of stretching, shrinking different areas to make this edge fit the way I want it to, and it is. And I've also been going back and forth with my trusty ruler to the old one, starting at a known point of each one of these wheel wells. I'm not going to tell you how I got this. It's confusing. I had to put a bunch of things, whatever. This is the same point on both of them. So, measure 12 inches this way, measure 12 inches this way, from this, the top of this, and I think 24 inches from this mark. I got points all over this one and the one I made. And measuring from the corner of this radius, which is different everywhere, so I kind of checked it 16 times on each one, measuring up on all the places that I made a mark, and transferring that to this one, as you can see from this. So on this point, from the center of the radius up to the edge here, 3¼ inches. From here up, 5 inches. Here, I don't know what it was. I did it a bunch and it was perfect, because once you have this one, this one, this one, and this one locked in, that kind of sits where it needs to be. This is 3 inches. This is 1 1/8. So when everything was on there, fine and dandy, everything kind of fell into place. Even when I locked this one and this guy into place, these kind of just fell in. So that means this is where it needs to be. I clamped it there so it wouldn't move. And then I'm going to die come this part, clamp it back on here, scribe, cut, and I should be able to have a nice tight gap, be able to weld it all the way in, and most of this is almost done. This is just a very complicated piece. So, you know, there's other ways obviously you can do this, but this, I feel, the safest way to do this without having to scrap any parts. Because, yes, if I was a much more talented man than I was, I could probably make this in one piece, shrink the flange over, and then bend this flange over. But I don't want to scrap 12 of these before I get my final piece, so I'm doing it in sections. This section, the angle section. I've done it before, it works out, so that's the way I'm doing it. And once this is welded in, I can set everything into place. I can either scribe the bead, or I can go from the inside and scribe this part, trim it, trim either one. I'll probably trim this because it's very flat, and that's not how the bead is. So I'm probably going to cut it as close as I can, well, wherever it lines up actually, which is pretty close, because from here, this is all I got. I got a tiny, I think 3/8 of an inch flange on there. So after I scribe, I should have a little more than that to account for the kerf of the blade that I used, and then weld that in, and then that'll be done. That's probably a long ways away, because there's a lot of checking, rechecking, double checking, triple checking, triple checking your double check, just to make sure everything's good. And I have also, on top of checking with the old inner wheel well, I've also been checking everything, mainly the angle where the bead is with this original 36 coupe fender. So it's been working. I'll get it out of the sun. It was a little tricky because obviously the fender flexes and moves, so it's hard to totally check, but I checked with that. I kind of put some bolts in the holes here, or I think I did screwdrivers in the holes so it wouldn't move. Scored the line where that original one would sit on the fender, and then kind of put my angle piece to that line, made sure everything kind of fell into place, and I had to do some shrinking on the edge where I didn't think I needed to, along this edge here, to kind of open it back up because it was too much of a radius. And that actually made it fit a lot better than I thought it was going to, matching it to the fender. So yeah, I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off, checking the fender, checking the inner fender, checking my new fender. It's just, I've been a mess. That's why I haven't really been recording too much of this whole process, because I really need to concentrate and dial it in, so I don't make any mistakes. And I apologize for that if I'm not covering it all too well, but it's for a reason, and I really don't apologize. I need to get this car right. Very big, important job for me. So that's how everything's looking, and pretty soon it'll actually look like that with the flange on it and everything. It'll be one piece, and I probably won't weld it in like I said I was going to until I get the other side to the same point as this, and then I'll kind of cut and weld everything in, because I'll show you why. There's some pressure being applied. The wheel wells slipping over this floor, and since I cut this one out, the body shifted over a tad, as you can tell by these supports. This one's hitting that side, and this one is a pretty good ways away from this corner here. That's just, those could be tweaked, but I can tell even from these supports here how much room there is here and how much room there isn't there. So the back end kind of shifted over a tad. So before I weld anything in and finalize things, I'm going to cut that one out, square up the rear end of the body, then make sure everything fits in correctly, because I don't want the whole ass end all crooked. So I got to do some things. That is what comes with taking a body fully apart. Little things like this, but I still think it's easier. So enough of me rambling. I'm going to cut this out and get it tacked in. It doesn't look like there's much progress that happened between last time we worked on these and this time, but there is a lot of progress. Lots and lots of tweaking, fitting and checking, double checking, like I said before, probably in the last clip, but it's just so much to do, so complicated for such a tiny, I guess it's not small, it's pretty large of a piece, but it's got to be correct. It's got to fit the way it used to fit. So it takes time. I double, triple check, make sure everything is perfect. Or as close as perfect as I can get it. I'm obviously not going to reproduce factory parts. That's just too many tolerances for me. But it's going to look pretty damn good, and it's going to fit the way it should. So I've tested these on 36 fender. Fits the way I like it. So that's good. I think right now, obviously ending the video, but next time this is going to get welded and I'm going to start getting the other side to this level. Hopefully it'll be quicker because I did this one already. It's fresh in my mind. You know, things will kind of roll a little faster. Like on this half here, I stretched this edge out a lot, and it was, you know, obviously this angle here was wrong, and I had to correct it with the Pomax. That made it shrink in more, so then I had to shrink this edge to open it back up. I know it's kind of doesn't sound right, but I had to shrink it to open it back up, and then when I welded the two together and started testing it on my really nice driver's side coupe fender, I realized that it was off a little bit and I had to shrink more to open it back up more, and then I realized that was actually where it was supposed to be. So now I have a good guide as to how to shape the other one, so it's going to get done half the time. And I'm excited to have both of the pieces next to each other, side by side, make sure everything's perfect. So yeah, that's it for this one. I hope you guys enjoyed. Not sure how much I got of what I was doing because I was trying to really focus in on pay attention to what I was doing and not so much recording, but you guys know it is what it is. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for liking, commenting, subscribing, clicking the bell, sharing the videos, doing everything that you guys do. I do, side note, I do have an idea, not an idea, but you know, YouTube subscriptions. I don't, if you guys would be into that, obviously drop a comment and let me know if you would subscribe. I don't know. My hesitation is, I really don't know if people would want to pay for extra content from me, and I really don't know what I would do yet. So maybe throw some ideas down below on what you would pay for to see me do, like maybe live streams once a week, I don't know, exclusive videos. I don't really do how-tos, but I guess I could. I just feel like I'm not a professional, so I shouldn't be doing how-tos. That's just how I see it. But I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.